Hi guys, it's Mindful Mondays, and today we're going to be talking about everything that is wellness. I think over the last few sessions that we've had on Mindful Mondays, we've realized how we can't just take care of our mental state, we also have to take care of our physical and our emotional well-being too, and that comes with tips that we've been receiving from different experts on healthy eating, exercise, and mindfulness. So today we are joined by Terry Harris, who's a dietitian from Discovery Vitality, and she's going to be telling us some do's and don'ts on healthy eating. And I think it's quite important because now, especially during the pandemic, a lot of us have fallen off, me being one of them, and it's become quite difficult to eat healthy, but also just have good meals that are simple and easy, you know. So I'm so glad to be joined by Terry today, who's going to be taking us through some delicious meals, simple and easy meals, and also just telling us the benefits of healthy eating, because yes, we've heard it before, but I think it's quite important for us to reiterate it for people to know. So hi Terry, thank you so much for joining us on Mindful Mondays.
Thank you for the opportunity.
No, thank you. I think before we get into the meals, I think it's quite important to talk about how healthy eating is related to your mental well-being, because someone is probably thinking, how will a burger affect my mind state? But I think it's important for us to mention why it's important.
Yeah, it's such a good point. So what you eat is related to your brain in two ways. So firstly, your brain requires so much energy to function. So literally the food that you eat fuels your brain. So whatever you eat can directly impact how your brain functions. And then the second way it also affects your mental health is that there's this link to what they call the gut microbiome. It just sounds like a really fancy word for bacteria in your intestine. It sounds so simple, but those bacteria are so incredibly powerful at being associated with mental health. The higher the levels, the healthier the bacteria in your gut, the lower your chance of developing depression and anxiety. So the diet is important literally for your brain, but as well as for the bacteria in your intestines. That's how really it's incredibly powerful how nutrition can affect your mood.
So it's true what they say, you are what you eat.
Completely. Yeah.
And I think a lot of us don't realize that, you know, like, so a person will be asking, why should I care what I eat? But I've also found that, like, when you eat in an unhealthy way, like you're saying, it affects your entire body, your entire mood actually. So you find that the more you overeat or even undereat, you start acting differently. So I'm very excited that we're doing this, because I think a lot of people need to know what mindful eating is. We talk about mindfulness, but then we also need to put that in our food and the exercises that we do in our daily lives. So I have another question. It's more related to what's currently happening with the pandemic right now. So a lot of us are just going through the motions where you are feeling discouraged, you don't want to cook anymore, or you just feel like it's too much of a chore. I just wanted to know how it's possible to manage our diet without making it feel like it's a diet, if that makes sense.
Yeah, completely. And I so appreciate that, because it's more of a lifestyle. It's not something that we're going to be doing just for a short period of time. So as you say, this pandemic has exhausted us all. We've turned to food for various reasons, because we've all been inside so much more in our own homes, and so the kitchen is right there. So people have been eating for comfort, for boredom, for so many reasons, and that's the reality of food, is we turn to it for so much else besides just making us feel full when we're hungry.
Yeah.
And mindfulness is such a critical point, because food is split into when you're eating, how mindful and aware are you of that actual habit of eating that food, versus what are you putting on your plate. Both of those things you really need to be conscious about, because you need to have the right foods and then also eat them in a healthy, very almost responsible way, if I can say that.
So, like, for me with the pandemic, it was weird, because it was a very busy time in my life, but at the same time it was a very scary time, because now you're just wondering, there's that constant anxiety. Am I going to get the virus today? You know, like that. We've all been living with that. So I found myself turning to a lot of takeaways, because I was just like, okay, I don't have time to cook. I don't have, because you know, with delivery apps, you can just order food and then you can just come in. So I found that I need something that's quick and easy, but also very healthy. But at the same time, like I said, what you eat actually affects your mood.
Yeah.
So how can I be more mindful in how I eat, and how can I promote, how can the food that I eat, or what foods can I eat to promote my mental well-being? Because, for example, we sit here on Mindful Mondays every single Monday, and we talk about these tips, but then what foods can I eat to make sure that I am being mindful in how I eat, and I'm promoting my mental well-being?
Yeah, great question. So the first comforting answer is that it's nothing new.
Okay.
Healthy eating for the brain is the same healthy eating we've been speaking about for years. It's vegetables and fruits. It's whole grains, so oats porridge, brown rice. It's legumes, which is this category of beans, lentils, chickpeas, which people are very unfamiliar with. Healthy fats, so avocado seeds, and again now been amazing. Peanut butter. So it's nothing new which we need to learn. What we do need to do is make sure, as you say, it's not a diet. It's not something we do just for a short period of time. And we're all in such a mentally overwhelmed state that to think, oh my word, I need to now take on this entire new eating plan. Not at all. Pick one small thing to focus on for that week. Just for that week, focus on that tiny thing. And even if it's just, I'm going to drink a glass of water every time I eat a meal. Slowly build on those habits, because the last thing you want to do is to burden somebody with another to-do list, something else to be concerned about. So your healthy eating, so the great thing is it's not new. So these are all very familiar foods which we've been speaking about for years, but how do you practically get it into your day, and how do you keep it there day after day?
I'm so happy you touched on how we can just do it one step at a time, because like I was saying, diets can be very daunting, or changing your lifestyle can be very daunting. And something that we speak about in Mindful Mondays is small victories. So start with the small victories. Start with just adding something healthy, like you're saying, in your diet, and then just build up to it until it becomes a lifestyle, because I think sustainability is quite important as well.
Oh, completely. If you're not going to be doing something that you can do forever, that you can afford, that you can enjoy with your family, you're wasting your time.
You really are.
Yeah.
You really are. And I think that's where we all get it wrong. You know, like you just want something quick, and you want something that's going to work fast, and then you don't really know how to sustain it in the long term. And that's where diets fail, which is why this needs to be a lifestyle. But at the same time, you find that I've read, or like even watched a few things where they say no food is bad. But are there actually foods that can negatively affect your mental well-being?
It's such a critical point, because this is the area where there is such a thing as there's certain foods which really are harmful for your mental health. Because we've always had the message, as you said, there's a place for all foods in the diet, moderation, but the reality is when you're trying to address your mental health, you have to increase the healthy foods as well as decrease the unhealthy foods. You can't compensate for the odd chocolate or the odd chips every now and again by eating extra healthy food. I'm not saying never, because it's also a very difficult concept to accept, but you're right, you have to almost be that little bit stricter when you are focusing on your mental health, and you have to consciously have the healthy foods and consciously less of the unhealthy foods. And the unhealthy foods being highly processed, so our normal chips, chocolates, sweets, which we know of. But also foods in a box or a packet with a very long ingredients list. That's what we generally call ultra highly processed. Not great for the mental health generally. We're rather referring to whole foods, like the whole raw ingredients. And also we don't talk about nutrients, because people say, should I be worried about vitamin B? Should I be worried about zinc? Should I be taking a supplement? The reality is, if you eat the right foods, all those nutrients take care of themselves.
And actually a nutritionist was also saying the same thing, that all the nutrients that we need it's in our food, you know, but we don't eat enough of it, or we don't know, or we're not conscious of what we're eating, which is where the mindfulness of it comes in. But I think everyone who's been listening is wondering, how can you prepare a meal that is both simple, easy, and healthy? Yeah.
So just on that, it's also important to pause before you start this to understand, do I want to implement it in, say, breakfast, lunch, dinner in my daily routine, or just do I want to focus on one food group for that week? So also find out what resonates with you better. If you just want to focus on getting more whole grains in your diet, such as brown rice, oats porridge, quinoa, those foods, then that's a different approach. But generally, for if you're trying to just think of good structured eating, Like a great breakfast is oats porridge. It's wonderful in winter because it's nice and comforting. Things like fruit and yogurt are also absolutely great. Lunches are tricky because we're on the run. As you say, there are so many takeaway options out there. It's so easy to get things delivered to your door wherever you are. But that's why I'm so incredibly grateful for this new movement of plant-based, of vegan, of everyone looking for that meat alternative. Now, meat is not bad for you. It's just that eating more beans, lentils, and chickpeas is so much better for you. So the fact that there are now vegetarian options on the menu is an absolutely wonderful thing from a mental health point of view. And then with your dinners, it does take some planning ahead. So just try and understand in advance, where are you going to be for dinner firstly? If you're going to be at a restaurant or if you're on the go, think of a healthy option you can order. Or else when you're making a meal, just make twice the amount. And also think a few steps before that when you're shopping. Buy a larger packet of vegetables or a larger packet of say chicken, and make a large pot of veggie soup or chicken stew, and then just freeze it in portions. Because then at least you've got pre-packaged stuff that's ready to eat. It just needs to be warmed up. So thinking about practical things like that, planning in advance. It all feels quite overwhelming when you're in an overwhelmed space, but just take one step at a time and just think, for this week, let me just sort out dinner, for example.
And I'm so glad that you spoke about meal preps, because I was going to ask that, because we never really know how our day is going to turn out. But if you can actually make like a large pot of soup, you can actually freeze that over time and then just eat it maybe for the next 2-3 days. I wanted to ask about food poisoning. So some people would be worried about, okay, if I freeze food over time, then what would happen then?
Food safety. It's important.
Food safety.
Definitely. So the thing is that as long as your food is kept in the fridge, so at like 2 to 5 degrees for about 2 days, then that's okay. If it's going to be longer than that, just put it in the freezer. But the trick with freezing food is you need to portion it out before you put it into the freezer. Because if you make a big pot of soup and you put that entire large Tupperware in your freezer, it's a mission to defrost it, because what are you going to do with it then? So just take that little bit step further, use Ziploc packets, use little plastic tubs, but just have individual portions of that food, so it's just even more easy and practical to eat. And just and another example is brown rice. It's wonderful, but it takes longer to cook than normal white rice. So when you're cooking a pot, cook extra, freeze individual portions, so it's just much quicker and easier to grab.
And I think in all of this, because some people might think, oh, this sounds like a lot of work. But one thing I've realized is that the more you do it, one step at a time, like you were saying, the more it becomes easier, the more it becomes a lifestyle. But in the beginning, it's important, I think, to actually do the meal preps, like you say, because then you won't get tempted to just be like, oh, I don't feel like cooking today, so I'm just going to order a takeaway, because that's where most people will get to. But meal preps actually help a lot with that. So thank you for that tip. And I just wanted to say thank you for informing us on mindful eating and how it relates to mental well-being. Because one thing that we always speak about is healthy tips that can actually be done at home in order to take care of your mental health. So thank you so much for that. And I just wanted to find out, where can I find more recipes like the ones that you just shared?
So we do have the Healthy Food Studio, which is run through Vitality. And the wonderful thing about lockdown is that we were forced to go online, because previously it was really just a place at our office in Sandton. We've moved that entire offering online, so you can access it through the Healthy Food Studio. There are pre-recorded recipes, there are normal recipes, there's online courses that you can do for cooking, because a lot of us, including myself, need to learn how to cook, because we have relied on shortcuts and takeaways for so long. And cooking more often has so many more health benefits in itself, because if you cook more often, not only are you healthier, but it's got an incredible social element to it. You're able to learn each other's cultures, you're able to just talk while you're preparing a meal. So it's so much more than just cooking. It really is healthier for you mentally and for your body physically.
And some people say cooking is therapeutic, so I'm going to definitely try it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We have a lovely recipe from our chef Derek, and what's so great about this recipe is it uses all these ingredients which support your mental health. So it's got those lentils in it. And another thing with lentils is you can either buy them dry if you want to prepare them in advance, or buy the tin, because it's so convenient. What you do is just tip it into a sieve, rinse it quickly under water to get rid of all that salt water. And then it's roasted butternut, which any of our vegetables are wonderful, and the more variety in color, the better, because each color represents different nutrients. And the wonderful thing which Chef Derek has done is he's made this a warm salad, because a cold salad in winter is really not appealing, and you can also get a bit tired of soup. So if you've got these ingredients around your house, please cook with us. It's great. It's a delicious, quick and easy, healthy meal, and also wonderful to prepare on the go.
That sounds amazing, especially because it's warm, because I love really warm foods. So we're going to go to the video and just check how we make it. Apparently it's very quick and easy.
Yeah, exactly.
Hi guys, Chef Derek here at the Healthy Food Studio. Back again to show you a quick and easy butternut and lentil salad. And so most of these ingredients you would probably have stocked in your cupboards at the moment. We've got some lentils that has been drained and washed. We've got some beautiful red onion, been cut into half moon. We've got some low-fat feta cheese, some amazing wild rocket. I've just kept in some ice water to keep it nice and fresh and crispy. And we've got some cut butternut into little cubes, like centimeter cubes. This, if you don't know what a butternut is, this is what a butternut looks like. Right, so to get cracking with this, we're going to start by lining your roasting tray at home with a piece of foil. And the reason why I've lined the roasting tray with a piece of foil silver side up is because it's gonna help me with the washing up at the end of the day. Because you don't want to roast directly on your roasting tray, because you're gonna have all that stickiness, all the sugars from the food come out into the tray, and it's hard to wash. So that's a tip for you, easy washing up. Right, so we're gonna take our butternut cubes, we're gonna sprinkle it onto the roasting tray. Then we're gonna just take the half moon onions and place them around the tray. We're going to sprinkle some olive oil. That's about 2 or 3 tablespoons. Salt and pepper. Okay guys, and there we go. Just give it a shake around, and that's going to go into the oven, 180 degrees for about, say, 20 minutes, or check if the onions are nice and browned, or if you take a knife and you poke the butternut, if it's soft, you'll know it's ready. Okay, here we got the butternut and the red onion that's been roasted in the oven. It's nice and tender, with lots of caramelization on the onions as well. And now we're going to assemble this quick and easy salad for you. Just take a little bit of a handful of this wild rocket on the plate. I think that might be. So this is like a main course size, I think. Here we go. Take that. Take some of this. Beautiful colors, nice and fresh and rich. For that you could do 2 portions. Right, for the dressing we've got the lentils, we've got some olive oil, we've got some amazing balsamic vinegar, and one of my favorite ingredients is whole grain mustard. Okay, so 2 tablespoons of grainy mustard. About 20 ml of balsamic vinegar, about 2 tablespoons of olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, salt and pepper, keep your fingers behind the blade. There we go. Fresh smells of aromas of parsley. Get in there. Some lemon juice. Go. Fantastic. Whisk. Just to emulsify all those beautiful flavors and textures. Look at that. The lentils. We don't need to whisk anymore. Incorporate the lentils with this. Just take some of this and roll it over. And the final touch is this beautiful fat-free feta cheese, just crumbled up on top. And voila, as my son says, enjoy.
If you could mobilize a group of people, what movement would you mobilize and why?
I would call my movement the mindful movement. Suicide is one of the leading causes of death between people aged 15 and 29. 1 in 3 people are expected to suffer from mental illnesses in their lifetime. So I believe that mobilizing people to strive for mental health would actually fix so many social ills in our society, and that is what I would mobilize.